Have you ever felt like you're being worked to the bone? Well, if you live in one of the countries on this list, that feeling might be tragically accurate. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The World According to Briggs and a video about countries that will work you to the bone. Today we're looking at countries with the most overworked citizens on the planet. You know who I'm talking about. Overworked people are easy to spot. They have slumped shoulders, they cry on commuter trains, and they pass notes to Starbucks employees that say, "Help me." You know, classic overwork behaviors. The OECD collected data on the average annual workers from different industrialized countries. Sorry, North Sentinel Island did not participate in this study. I'm gonna explain to you how they did this. It's very complicated, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. They took the average annual hours and calculated by the total number of hours actually worked per year divided by the average number of people in employment per year. Actual hours included regular work hours, full-time, part-time, and part-year workers, paid and unpaid overtime, and hours worked in additional jobs, and excluded any time not worked because of holidays, sick or parental leave, schooling or training, and other factors. In a nutshell, we're doing this list by countries that citizens on average work the most hours every single year. So yeah, that's all we're going by, but they have a big calculation into it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Just to put in perspective how overworked these places are, the country with the lowest average is actually Germany. Their average citizen only works a little over 1,300 hours a year. You're gonna see what a big difference it is by the time we're at the end of this list. All right, let's see what we found. Number 10, the United States. Kicking off the top 10 most overworked countries is the United States, the place I'm currently standing in. We work a lot here. Oddly enough, everyone assumes we're lazy, but we're in the top 10 of overworked people. We have all kinds of industries that, you could be working at, including carnival worker. They're always overworked. The average American worker works 1,786 hours per year. And we average about 41.5 hours a week, with 11.1% of our employees working over 50 hours a week. So yeah, we do some working even though we have a reputation for being lazy. Number 9, Poland. Yeah, who saw this one coming? I never thought of Poland. Well, actually, I never think of Poland. It's a beautiful country, and they used to make horrible jokes about them in the 1970s, but Poland's a nice place, and they work their tail off. Polish employees work about 1,792 hours per year on average. The average work week for full-time employees is about 40.9 hours a week. About 6% of their employees work over 50 hours a week. Poland is big in farming and energy, and those are two very demanding industries in some cases, so if you're overworked in those, it hurts. Number 8, the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic is one of the more beautiful countries in Europe. It is in between Germany, Poland, Austria, and Slovakia. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. They've got Prague. Prague's one of the most beautiful cities in Europe. They have hundreds of mansions, castles, and chateaus that are just outstanding. It's a beautiful country. But they got about 11 million people that are overworked. The Czech Republic's workforce works an average of 1,793 hours per year. The average work week is about 40.3 hours, and 5.7% of the workforce works over 50 hours per week. Now, this is what sucks. It's such a beautiful place and all these beautiful buildings, but the average annual wage in the Czech Republic is only $26,900. That's not a lot of money. I mean, they don't have the highest cost of living. It is pretty low, but that's still a low number. Number 7. Israel. Israel's only been a country since the late 40s when it gained independence from the United Kingdom. May 14th, 1948, to be exact. Since then, they've had all kinds of drama, and they always seem to hit the international news cycle with something going on there. Recently, instead of terribly bad things going on there, they've got a lot of news these days. They've got some seriously good tech coming out of Israel in the last handful of years. Definitely have a growing tech industry, and that's where a lot of their workers are going to. This isn't a big country. It only has 9 million residents, and the average resident works about 1,901 hours per year. That's kind of a step up from what we've been looking at. The average work week in Israel for a full-time employee is about 44.4 hours, and about 15.5% of the employees work over 50 hours per week. Number 6, Chile. Now, I've always found Chile to be a very interesting country. It's got a strange shape, it makes me hungry when I think about it, and they have had a coup, a dictator, and jet fighters bombing the presidential palace in my lifetime. There's always something fun going on in Chile. Now, it is a long, narrow coastal South American country on the west side of the Andes Mountains. Chile stretches 2,670 miles from north to south, and that's about 4,300 kilometers. But it is only in width about 217 miles at its widest point. That's about 350 kilometers. So it's a strange shaped country, like I said. Chile ranks 6th for the most overworked countries. In a year, Chilean workers work an average of 1,941 hours. The average full-time worker works about 45.7 hours a week, and 9.7% of the employees work over 50 hours per week. Number 5, Greece. The Greeks are hardworking people. They always have been. I mean, they didn't come up with democracy, maps, and the Olympics over a long weekend. They worked at it for years and decades. These days, they got 10 million hardworking Greeks that are working hard and using Windex to heal tennis elbow and stuff like that. Greece works an average of 1,956 hours per year. The average full-time work week is about 41.5 hours, and about 6.4% of the employees work over 50 hours per week. Number 4, Russia. Russians are known for being hard workers. It's like legendary. If you think of a Russian, you think they're a hardworking person, regardless if they are not. It's just, that's how they are. I saw a Russian comedian one time at the Comedy Magic Club in Hermos Beach, California, and he was making jokes about how hardworking Russians are and stuff like that. He said a Russian mother will have a baby while she's working in the fields and then be back at the field after lunch. There are 44 million Russians, and they work an average of 1,972 hours per year. Number 3, South Korea. South Korea, I had no idea they're known as hardworking people. I imagine North Korea, as they didn't give information for this study, so who knows, but I'm sure the people in North Korea work on average like 20 hours a day. They're not on the list. But South Korea, yeah, I never knew they were known for their hard work, but I guess they are. We've all heard those stories about the Japanese businessman that works like, 80 hours a week, but I never heard that about South Korea. South Korea is the 3rd most overworked country in the world. They would average about 1,993 hours per year. That's a lot of working. In 2018, the South Korean government actually passed a law that reduced the maximum working hours per week from 68 to 40, with 12 hours of paid overtime. Yeah, that would be interesting, though, to find out about North Korea and how many hours those people work on average. You work 5,000 hours a year and you still can't get Netflix. Actually, they have their own Netflix. They don't call it Netflix. I'm not even kidding. It's pronounced man bang. Yeah, like man bang. That's what it's called. Weird. Number 2, Costa Rica. Yeah, this another one. Had no idea. Great beaches and a little over 5 million residents. It's not a big country. It's a beautiful place, though. If you ever get a chance, go there. The average annual hours worked by Costa Ricans is 2,121 hours. Wow, that's kind of a jump. We're in the 2000s now. Costa Rica's average full-time work week is slightly longer than Mexico's, which is 48.6. What are they working on there? I mean, I think their biggest industry is tourism. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we got another channel called On This Day. There is a link below. We'd love it if you check it out and maybe think about subscribing. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Mexico. They are hard workers. I will tell you right now, I grew up in Southern California, and it's a very, very Hispanic area of where I lived, actually. It's called Torrance Redondo South Bay. Every single time I've ever worked with anyone that is from Mexico, they work twice as hard as anyone else at the job. So this one did not shock me at all. Mexico has a population of about 127 million people, and they're all hard workers. The average annual hours worked in Mexico is 2,148 hours a year. That's a lot. This makes them the most overworked country on the planet. The average work week for a full-time employee in Mexico is about 48.5 hours. About 28.7% of Mexican employees work over 50 hours a week. Over a quarter of them. Sadly, the average annual wages are only $16,298. That's it, whole year. That's not many pesos for that hard of work. Actually, that's a whole bunch of pesos, because a dollar is like 20 pesos, so 16,298, that gives you about, 330,000 pesos? So yeah, you're getting a lot of pesos, just not a lot of dollars. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.